Hey guys, it's Rob here and welcome back to another video on the Nintendo Switch 2, and this time we have some Nintendo Switch 2 news from actual developers. It's actually kind of interesting on what the news we have to talk about today is. So when it comes to the Nintendo Switch 2, it seems like there are a lot of rumors, Nintendo Switch leaks, a lot of people saying different things, a lot of insiders having different kind of information, and that's been happening since really the beginning of the Nintendo Switch, really. But I don't think we've ever had this much developers coming out and saying that, yeah, we're making games for the next Nintendo Switch console. So let's dig into this Video Game Chronicles article and see what they have to say. 8% of developers questioned in a new industry survey have said they're working on games for Nintendo's next console. Now what I find so interesting right off the bat about this part is that this means that people are working on games for Nintendo's next console. That means there are going to be games that are going to be launching within the first year of the Nintendo Switch 2's lifetime. Hopefully ready for launch of that Nintendo Switch 2. Now one question I do have is, does this mean that they do have access to maybe some kind of device that lets them develop the game for the console, which is usually a dev kit? I'm wondering if they have those, or are they just going off of the assumption that this is probably going to be this power based on maybe the Steam Deck or any other handheld that has recently come out. But let's continue. The new published 2024 GDC State of Game Industry survey asked over 3,000 game developers across indie and AAA studios questions about their work, including which platforms they're currently creating games for. For the first time, nearly 250 people said they were working on titles planned for the Nintendo Switch's successor, or the Nintendo Switch's successor. Now it doesn't say which developers are these 250, and it doesn't say if they have a dev kit either. We don't know any of that information that's part of this article, so they could very well just be assuming that, okay, the Steam Deck and all of these other handhelds are around this power, I'm sure our game will run on the Nintendo Switch. Now if that's not the case, I'm assuming they actually do have a dev kit, because according to the recent rumors and Nintendo Switch leaks and all that great stuff, apparently the Nintendo Switch 2 is supposed to come out in 2024, which does make a lot of sense because the Nintendo Switch 2 is kind of dropping off. I'm not saying it's doing bad, but it isn't like it was, say, around the third year or the second year or the first year. It is in its 7th year, so it is time for that new generation hardware. But continuing. Separately, 32% of the developers surveyed said Nintendo's next console most interested them right now, behind only PlayStation 5, 41%, and PC, 62%. It's worth noting, since the Nintendo Switch successor is yet to be officially announced, those working on the game will be doing so under strict secrecy, so it's possible that more than 3,000 surveyed are working on Switch 2 games, but chose not to disclose them even anonymously. So that actually is a great point. There could be more than 250, but it is strange that they're just coming out and saying, yeah, we're working on it for the successor. Now, I really do. I mentioned this earlier in the video too, but do they have a dev kit, or are they just assuming the power? I'm assuming anyways, to develop a game for a platform, you would have to have that platform to develop for, if that makes any sense. But then I think about it, a lot of games actually are developed on PC and then ported over to the consoles like the PS5 and the Xbox Series X. Maybe that's what's going on. I don't know, it is a very strange situation. But anyways, continuing with the article. Although the company is yet to comment publicly, Nintendo's Switch successor is widely expected to launch this year, and Nintendo shares a hit record earlier this month, partly due to the anticipation for its next console. So yeah, like I said, it's about time for the Nintendo Switch 2 to come out. Now, Nintendo has talked a bit about the next console before. They have mentioned their next hardware, especially when it comes to the Nintendo Switch Online service. They talked about transferring your account and how easy it's going to be and how easy they want it to be. But they have also talked about backwards compatibility and all that kind of great stuff. If you want to watch a video on that, you can click the top right corner of this video. It's a very interesting watch. There's a couple videos that I did on the Nintendo investor meeting, and they talked to the investors about different things like the next console and backwards compatibility and the Nintendo Switch Online service and all that fantastic stuff. Now this next part in the article is actually pretty interesting. Now keep in mind that I am reading this for the first time as I'm making this video, but like I said earlier in the video, they would probably have to have a dev kit. Now they said VGC reported last summer the development kits for Switch 2 were in the hands of key partner studios, and I actually do remember that. I just remembered that. I completely forgot about it. I actually probably made a video on that too, although I haven't been uploading for a while, so I guess maybe there were some things that I forgot. But this does make a lot of sense. If they already had the Nintendo Switch 2 development kit, they would be making a lot of games for the Nintendo Switch 2, and a lot of developers would come out and say, yeah, we're making it for the Switch 2. So assuming that this is right, they have the development development kit. Now the interesting part about this is that Nintendo said they weren't going to do any new hardware until after March of 2024, if I recall correct. Now if that's the case, and assuming that these developers do have the Nintendo Switch 2 dev kits and there's going to be games, that means this system will probably launch with some third-party games and indie games as well. And if that's the case, I wonder if any of Nintendo's studios or studios that specifically make only Nintendo Switch games have any big surprises for us, because that February Nintendo Direct is coming up and we usually do get a Nintendo Direct in the summer as well, so one of these Nintendo Directs might be pretty huge. Or I am wondering, actually, not Nintendo Directs, maybe they'll do their own event. Like, it'll probably be like a Nintendo Direct, but it'll be like the Nintendo Switch 2 presentation or something like that, or the future of Nintendo. I think that would be really cool, and honestly, if they announced it and we had like a date to look forward to, I think that would be really great, because the lead up to that is gonna be so incredible and just so fun, and like the hype levels would just break the limits. But anyways, continuing on with the last bit of the article. Dr. Serkan Toto, CEO of Tokyo-based game industry consultant Canton Games, recently predicted that the new console could launch at $400, $100 higher than the Switch launched at, and there's a chance its games could adopt the $70 pricing of the PS5 and Xbox Series X. According to the industry consultant, Nintendo's next console will again have the portable functionality, as VGC reported last year. Now there are a couple things I want to bring up on this last part. One, I think $400 is a really good price, especially if it's going to be a better jump in power compared to the original Nintendo Switch. Two, I hope they do have backwards compatibility. Backwards compatibility is something I really do want. If not, at the very least, let us pop the cartridge in and download the digital game for free. At least let us do that. Another thing I'd be curious on is if Nintendo's gonna do a price cut on the current Nintendo Switch hardware, the Nintendo Switch Lite, the Nintendo Switch OLED, something I still do want. I want that Zelda OLED, and of course the original Nintendo Switch. I mean, if the Nintendo Switch Lite goes down to like a $100 or something, that would be absolutely insane, because Nintendo is making a lot of fantastic games. Now there are some games that I have problems with, but overall I do enjoy the games on the Nintendo Switch. So overall, this is very exciting. But what do you guys think about this? What do you think about 250 developers saying, yes, we're developing games for the Nintendo Switch 2? I mean, that's really, really exciting. I don't know, maybe it's just me. Maybe it's the caffeine I just drunk to make this video. And by the way, the reason why this doesn't have all the cool animation and stuff on it, it's just gameplay and maybe some few article snippets here and there, is because I'm probably working right now. This is going to come out the next day, and today I'm just going to take it easy before I have to work. For those who haven't heard, I got a job as a contractor, and it's really physically demanding and stuff, so gotta make sure I'm rested up, especially because I also like to lift weights and stuff. So I also want to work on actual cartoon backgrounds and new animations for the channel as well, so you know, there's gotta be some kind of balance there. But anyways, make sure you guys tell me your thoughts in the comment section below about all of this, and I will see you guys in the next video. Take care.